when enterprising newcomers from England and Scotland started it all. By 1885, there were about 40,000 head of sheep. In another half dozen years, there were 500,000. And today, there are more than 3 million. The pasturage is excellent because rainfall is ample but not excessive, and because after the rain, strong winds dry the grazing lands. Prevailing temperatures favor the growth of the wool. Ownership of the ranges and herds is largely Chilean, but the management is commonly in the hands of experts from Great Britain or Ireland. Altogether, this is a sheep raiser's paradise, much like North Scotland or the Hebrides. It's pretty nice for the sheep, too. Of course, they don't know that each year about 1 million of them go to market to be turned into choice mutton. It is not unusual for one of the big estancias or ranches to be 50 miles long and 30 miles wide, to cover about 1 million acres, and to maintain sheep numbering hundreds of thousands. The ranges are so vast that some herders do not come in more than twice a year. This indeed is sheep raising on an heroic scale. The predominating breed of the sheep is a cross between the Merino and the Romney Marsh. The great event here in the Chilean sheep country is the clip, or shearing. The men who do this work are experts who turn up once each year. Many of them came in on the boat from Chile. The shearing is a heavy job, which takes from 6 weeks to 2 months. It is piecework, with an average man shearing about 100 sheep per day, and the most expert doing nearly twice that number. The men are unionized and well paid. Part of the skill in this work is in taking off the fleece all in one piece. For shearing on this scale, electric machinery is needed. The wool goes to expert graders who decide on its quality and classification. These specialists are often men who have come all the way from England just to do this work. Then the wool is baled. Again, it seems extraordinary, after traveling through 1,000 miles of spectacular, unpopulated wilderness, to find this thriving industry. One of the results of the unionization of these men is that the employer is required to provide 3 or 4 pounds of fresh meat every day for each man. So the sheep shearer is not only paid well, he eats well. On the other hand, he is not employed by the year. And it must be said that if any of these men happens to detest mutton stew, he has made an unfortunate choice of a profession. As for the sheep, what they get after the shearing is a complete surprise. A nice thorough dipping in a bath of creosote. Whether they really like it or not is open to question, but it's good for them. It prevents disease. And even a sheep likes to feel well. Soon the sheep will go out again for another year on the range, while their recent coats of fleecy wool, now carefully baled, start the journey to the docks at Punta, and from there to countless spindles and looms in distant lands. South Chile remains one of the world's few frontiers. In all of this region, from Chiloé to Cape Horn, live only 1% of Chile's population. And yet how richly rewarding to the observer who seeks the uncommon in what the world has to offer. And who knows, someday all of this may become a great vacation center, the Switzerland of the Western Hemisphere. In the meantime, South Chile has not quite its counterpart anywhere on the globe. It is fascinating in its strangeness, in the aloofness of much of it to man, in its mysteries and in its unsolved problems. Fascinating, too, in its sheer, stark beauty.